Hey guys, so we're going to do something a little different today. We're going to focus on the changes that are coming, but we're going to focus more on the life changes that are occurring or happening around you. And I'm going to try to not fixate on love itself. If love does come up in the reading, I will address it, but I'm not going to stay focused on that. I want to focus on what is going on in your life. What changes can you expect to come into your life? In other words, what kind of shift of energy is going to happen for you in the near future? Okay, so if all that makes sense, we are going to use two things to pick a card. First, we're going to use some of them. This is called the Enchanted Map Oracles, and I'm going to shuffle them real quick and pick a card. And then I'm also going to pick a charm from this little charm bag that I have. Okay, so we are going to do four piles. I'm also going to do, this is a reading that actually someone requested, and I've been meaning to get to it. I just haven't had that chance, and here we are now. And then the next reading will be the singles reading that a lot of y'all have also requested, so I'm going to focus on that. But if there's anything else that you're interested in me doing a topic on, leave it in the description box down below. I know some of y'all have already mentioned other readings, and I'm going to try to get to those as well. I'm just kind of doing what I can when I can right now. I don't have really that much of a set schedule until I get like back into the hang of things, since my kids and everything's kind of getting back on routine. So y'all just keep an eye out for that and put that down below in the comments if you don't mind, and I'll add it to my list. Okay, so pile 1, and I'm not going to turn these over. I'm actually going to leave them like they are. Pile 2. We're going to use the charms really to visually pick a pile, unless you feel drawn to a pile for some other reason. Okay, so pile 1. Let's see what y'all have. Okay, so y'all have the crown. So that will be pile 1. Pile 2. Y'all have the hummingbird. So that's pile 2. Pile 3. Y'all have the owl, my favorite. And the little owl down below it. Okay. And pile 4. It always comes out. I knew this was going to come out. This is the T-Rex here. Okay, so that is pile 4. All right, so timestamps for everything will be down below. And there's also a timestamp there for a little bit of a meditation if you just want to pause that video and just kind of set your intentions, what you need to know for your highest good. Always remember, you're in control of this reading. You have the ability to click off at any time you start to feel not so good about it. Maybe it's just not your reading, or maybe it's just not your situation at this time. But just please remember that you are in control of that. So just simply click off. Okay, so timestamps for everything, like I said, will be down below, and I will see you at your pile. Hey, pile 1. So if you chose the little crystal crown here, so it's interesting in the beginning of your reading here, or the intro, this crown was sitting upright, you know, but then it kept doing this. I had a jack with it for a minute before I could even take the thumbnail photo, and it made me think, you know, to straighten your crown. So there may be something here to do in this next life energy shift where you're maybe starting to feel more confident in yourself, or you're starting to feel better about yourself. You're starting to possibly maybe even have a glow up for some of you, or you're just, it's internal, and you're feeling this overall feeling of what you deserve and who you are, and you feel really good about yourself. So yeah, I think that some of you may also feel like the energy around you is shifting in that way too, where you start to feel like you're getting, all of a sudden you're getting more opportunities, or you just feel like, every day it's just like, feels like things are kind of working out for you. I feel this energy of things kind of lifting up. So, okay. So let's see what y'all's card is. See, it's not going to stay. We're going to lean it on the angel there. Okay. So y'all's card is intention. So you have this owl here in a wish. I think for some of you, you may have actually wished for something. Maybe it's a new beginning here, sitting on this egg. You've kind of wished for something when it comes to your safety or security or a new beginning. You have this whole field here of wishes, which are dandelions, by the way. I say wishes. And you have this owl that's holding on to the dandelion in its mouth. And it's like, I think this is coming to you in the way of wisdom. I think you're going to get some sort of wisdom here that's going to help you to create something for yourself. I also feel like this is kind of like a wish that you've had, or a prayer that you've had here that you've sent out into the universe for, that is a need or a want that you have. I do feel like for a lot of you, and it's funny because I talked about, the crown and everything, and you have this pedestal. It's like being placed on a pedestal, this new beginning. So I think also your intentions have been that of what you deserve, right? What it is that you deserve. And there's been like this wish for perhaps bringing in what it is that you deserve, or wanting what it is that you deserve, but still being grateful for where you are. And this could be, with this knowledge, with this lesson and understanding of that, is where this wish has been created. You may have had many wishes that you've sent out here, but this is one in particular that you've set the intention with, and that you've learned a lesson with, and you've gained some sort of knowledge and understanding about that when it comes to being grateful for where you are, but yet still having that desire, having that idea of what you do deserve coming. And that's why this is unfolding in the way that it is for you. You've kind of found balance here. I also feel like that there's going to be some decisions that you're going to have to make moving forward, or you've made some tough decisions that have kind of led to this change, led to this shift. Okay. I feel like it took me a second to get started on that. It's like I felt like I was having to put bits and pieces together instead of it coming in a flow. It took a minute for that to start flowing out. So it's kind of a little bit different. There's something here to do with you having to put bits and pieces together, which has created some sort of change here. Okay. We're going to use the answer oracles because I want to, because I really like these. We already have cards coming out. We have the seagull here, which is about cunning, perseverance, fearlessness, survival, and freedom. And then we have this ring here, which is about wedding, token, and bond. So I think that you've stayed committed to a journey. You've stayed committed to this intention, your intentions on this. It's like starting something and finishing something. You've stayed devoted and committed to this desire, to this wish, or to this prayer that you've had. But you haven't just like sent it out there and expected it in return. You've done the work. You've persevered, you've met those challenges, and you've stayed on this. I just realized that you have two birds here, a seagull and an owl. They're both on this like podium here, this pedestal here. So what you've actually done is you've kind of broke yourself free from something, an idea of something, who you are, what it is that you want. You've added up some pieces here, and you found the courage and the perseverance and the determination, and whatever this is, you've released it. You've broke yourself free. You survived it. You know, you've overcome some stuff here, and you've stayed committed to this. Devoted and committed to what this is. Delivery. So, because of that, you have this delivery here that's coming in. I do feel like for a lot of y'all are fixing to get some sort of like push, or extra push or shift from, or like a blow in the wind here from Spirit. Little help here. Yeah, progress. On your journey, on your path here. I love the way that turned out. You have sunset at the bottom. Sunset, you know, it's funny because this card says decline, fade, and aging. But I live in Texas, and we have some of the best sunsets. And some people don't believe that, but it's true. We really do. And we really do. And sometimes they're just incredible. It's like, I can't even believe it. Like, look at that sunset. It's gorgeous. And okay, now I'm starting to get in kind of a storyline. So when I go out of town, I live in a small town, right, in Texas, little tiny old town. And we have to go out of town for everything, unless we're just, you know, buying stuff online. But fun for us is going out of town. So when I travel down this little, you know, this road that goes through kind of a canyon and stuff, and the wide open ranges, and the view's just gorgeous. I love to time it to where I'm coming home at that sunset, because it's just the most beautiful thing to drive through, right? And it makes me feel just this overwhelming, like I always like listen to music, and I'm just thinking about life. I'm thinking about everything I've been through. And I don't know why, it just feels so peaceful to me. So it's almost like with sunset here, you see this decline or fade or aging, but it's more of like this understanding that comes along with the experiences that you've had. You know, it's more of this peaceful energy of closing something out with that sunset. And the beauty behind that, you know, and overcoming the obstacles and learning those lessons. And it's just this peaceful understanding how everything just comes together. And more importantly, you followed a path of what you needed to do for yourself. And I think that's part of this learning that you've had, this survival, this freedom. Okay. It's funny too, because on here, and this is like the Six of Swords for me, which is getting into a calmer place, a calmer state. So I really feel like that's what's coming towards you, but I also feel like you're going to get some kind of gift or push or special sign here that's going to help you to like set yourselves in that direction, you know? So with the tomatoes, some of these are ready, you know? There's this idea of you've, like the Seven of Pentacles, you've sat and you've been determined, you've been patient, and now they're at the point to where you can now harvest or benefit off of all the hard effort that you've put into something, all the determination that you put into something. You can finally now benefit from that. And for some of y'all, this is actually something that you're physically doing. And for some of y'all, this has to do with you within yourself, you know, really going within and kind of rebuilding yourself. Okay, so let's get the tarot. this is the Crow Tarot, and this is going to sound strange, but this is actually the tarot deck that I pulled for you guys. Like, this is the tarot deck that made me want to do this reading, and I don't know why. I just saw it, and I was like, that deck right there needs to be used for a reading for this, and I don't know why, and it's just kind of led me to this reading. So it is special. We're going to see why. Also, this could happen. You could feel the significance of this shift around fall. For some of you, something significant happening then. Some of y'all, this involves like a move, physical move, or just like a whole shift in the atmosphere, the energy, your community. You know, something big here where it's just where you're getting to a better, more comfortable place. Okay, so what's this change that's coming in for, what's this change coming in for Paul 1? Change coming in for Paul 1. No kidding. I just pulled the 10 of Pentacles right off the bat. So there's that sense of security and foundation that's right there. It's going to be changes soon. You have a King of Wands in the reverse. There's your crown. Leo energy here. You have a 4 of Cups. You have a 2 of Swords. There's that decision I told y'all were going to have to make here. That's the 7 of Wands. It's funny in the 7 of Wands. It's throwing me off a little bit because, oh, you know what? Do you see how... I just realized that I said something was special with this reading. And you have all these birds that are here, and now we're using the Crow Tarot. But you have this crow here that, look, you see how he's on the cliff? And you have all these other crows down here. The 7 of Wands is like that defensive energy, needing to defend yourself, needing to protect yourself. And I think you're going to have to make this decision to do that, or you've already done that. You haven't been happy or satisfied with your results or with where you've been or what you've been experiencing. And instead of kind of sitting there and being sad about it, really, I mean, instead of like just sulking about that, I think that you've made the decision to protect yourself here, or to act on it, or to do something about it. For some of you, not everybody, but for some of you, this may involve walking away from someone. What's crazy here is that you may have had a really long-standing, solid foundation here that you may be turning away from because it's just not giving you what it is that you really feel like you deserve or what you need. And I think that's been probably one of the hardest decisions. Some of y'all are still in the process of making this decision. But this is why something is changing here. Ten of Pentacles. King of Pentacles. Yeah. The King of Pentacles and the Ten of Pentacles is kind of a big freaking deal. Capricorn energy. We'll come back to it. The World in reverse. Not everybody is going to appreciate or feel good about the decision or direction that you're taking. Not everybody's going to be on board with it. Not everybody's going to enjoy it or like what you're doing, or, you know, feel like you're making the right decision for yourself. And I think that that's been something that you've had to like look at and go, well, yeah, I see things that y'all can't, And I do feel like in a sense, for some of you, you've kind of faced some scrutiny or some severe judgment here around this decision that you're making. Sorry, I know it's super quiet there. Yeah, that's the way I feel. This Eight of Swords. I think, so I do feel like whatever's changing here, or whatever choices that you're making, I do feel like there may be someone here that tries to stop you from that. But I think that you have a lot to stand on here. You have either a lot of experience, you have a lot of understanding, you have a lot of energy or time or effort, or whatever the case, of knowledge or lessons or whatever it is. You just have a lot of it to stand on. And you have a lot of ways to defend what it is that you are moving towards here, what the shift is, the change is. And I think there is definitely somebody here that is going to challenge that and try to perhaps get you kind of tied up in your mind about it. And I think this is like your final challenge before you overcome this and that change really takes place. It's like, to me, that Two of Swords is representing a final decision. So it's basically like taking a test, kind of. You've studied for it, you've done everything that you need to do, and you're ready, and you go for it. You have someone here that's like, this is not going to work for you. You're not going to be able to do this, or whatever they're going to say. Just this negative energy that comes in that tries to like keep you in the chapter that you're in some way, shape, or form. And this is like where you get kind of a little bit tied up in your head about it, but I do see you breaking through that. And the test here is making the decision of staying on the path that you were on, or moving in that new direction, doing something different, breaking the pattern, following through with what you think is, or you feel is good or right for you. And once this decision is made, then you go into the process of this change completely occurring here. So what is that decision? Some of you, this has to do with blocking someone or something else out. Which could just be what they're saying to you. Yeah, judgment. There you go. You have a new energy here. Okay? And you're being called to face judgment when it comes to what direction that you want to take. And I think you know what direction is right for you. You just have to maintain that. Just like that crown, you have to maintain it. You have to continue to follow through with what you feel like is morally correct, or what you feel like you value, what you value most here in this. You have to continue through with that energy. I really feel too that something significant is going to happen in the next few, I'd say a couple months, just because I am feeling this like fall energy, and we're fixing, well, where I'm sitting, that's just so close. So I don't feel like that this is going to be something that takes a long time, is what I'm saying. I feel like that this is something that you're going to see, like it's like going to be a slow kind of gradual thing where you make that decision and then you kind of start to see those changes occur, or you start to just feel like a fresh new energy. I always feel like when fall comes and the trees fall and everything, it feels bare, but it always comes along with that fresh new energy. And right when spring hits, it's like the best feeling ever, right? Because everything's just so green and so pretty here. And yeah, and that's kind of what I'm feeling here as far as how this is going to go for you. It's like a process, like it says. It's a new journey. But you have to make that decision, that final decision. And you will get some pullback here with this. But you already have the tools that you need here with the Seven of Wands to defend yourself or to fight in the way that you need to. You know, you're yielding the right sword here to fight off this judgmental energy that's back here about what that dream is, what that goal is, or how you see yourself. Someone's really coming in and trying to like knock you off your pedestal in a way, trying to bring you back down. And you have what you need in order to pick yourself up here. And that's what causes the shift. So why is that Seven of Wands here? What is this about? Oh, I love that. I love it. It's the star. It's Aquarius energy. You have Scorpio here too. So the star is that wish, is that dream, and this is where you're defending that, you know. This is also like having a challenge and meeting that challenge. Okay. Look at that. You have a Five of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck in reverse. So you are definitely moving on from some sort of feeling, ultimately, of lack, of neglect. Whether that's you doing that with yourself or somebody else, or you just feel that way, like you're not getting what you need, you know, you're not getting your needs met. You are moving on from that energy and you're moving into a place to where, yes, this was a difficult decision. This is a sword. This is the decision that is painful. This is a decision that is going to have a dramatic effect. And it's also something that you really don't know exactly, ultimately, if it's going to lead you where you want to go. But you also know that, like, it's a decision that you feel like is right. And it's something that you have to do for yourself here, even though it's so difficult. Because why? Because you want to have this renewal. Because this is like shedding of the old. So for some of you, this is like you're letting go of an old energy that you've been holding on to. Whether that's a person, place, or thing, or it's just internal, you know? This lack mentality. It's like you're letting go of that energy. Okay. I'm going to, of course, I'm going to get a postcard from Spirit for y'all. I already had that kind of set to, that's definitely what I want to do. But I want to also get like a kind of a future energy too, just to take a look and see possibly what you could be expecting for the future. So, and I never really decided on which cards I wanted to use for that. I'm just going to use the ones that I had set. I had put cards out for me to use for this, which is this here. And it's the Cosmic Insights Tarot. But after I got them out, I was like, no, I want to use some different ones. But I never did pick out the different ones that I wanted. So I'm just going to use these. Some of y'all may be going back to an idea that never really fully got off the ground, or you're just diving deeper into something. And this is, I'm talking about something that you've never fully it's like a business that you started but you didn't finish. You felt like it wasn't going to go anywhere. This is like you going back to that idea and like amping it in some kind of way, or changing it in some kind of way. Something like that. Something significant. Okay. Changing. What can a fire sign could be important, which this is fire energy here, this King of Wands. So Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. But really, this is like, I think that a lot of what you'll see shift within yourself is that your drive and desire, I feel like, is going to significantly change. Just like I said with the fall and then the spring comes in, you know. Of course, there's winter in there, and I know that. You know, but I feel like the winter part is what you're already, you know, kind of getting away from because of this Five of Pentacles in reverse. I feel like you've already went through that. Okay. Someone else. I really feel there's this significant energy of someone else trying to keep you or sabotage what it is that you are wanting to make a decision to move towards, to have this new beginning here. Someone that's going to try to keep you from that. That could be family, friends, a love interest. It just, there's somebody there that you're needing to just keep an eye out for. And it could be a fire sign. Okay. What can they expect in the future from this, moving forward for pile 1? Cycles. I really feel like it says, fate, karma, something ending, something beginning. And that's what we see here. That world, it should be that ending. But the thing is that, and then the judgment to me would be that new beginning, along with the star. The reason the world, I feel like, is in reverse is because I feel like there is a fire sign here. But I feel like this could just be represent, they don't have to be a fire sign. It could just be someone that really tries to keep you from that. Okay, so that really, in the middle of your spread, there's just this like pit stop or speed bump that's here that you have to overcome. And that's up to you guys. You know, not everybody's going to make that choice. It depends on what lesson you're needing to still learn. And I'm not going to say, I'm not telling you that if you don't make that choice to have this new energy, that you're going to have horrible things happen either. Think of all of our experiences that we've had in life that didn't end so great, but that didn't mean the whole experience was awful, you know? It's just that you may repeat another cycle before you have something else that occurs or happens. And it could really change your fate or your, you know, the way that you move forward. Okay. We also have open up your heart. It'll help you attract more love. So if y'all are interested in love, if this is what you're looking for, then I feel like eventually you will get to that place. If you're not there, of course, if you don't have love in your life already, I feel like you're going to get to that place that where you really feel like you're ready to open up, and you may not even realize it, you know, that you're open to love, but it's just a mere like second thought to everything else that's occurring or happening in your life, you know? Okay, and then you have vacation. You will be traveling soon. So for some of you, you may be taking a bit of a vacation. For some of you, you may have to travel or in some kind of capacity here to, and this is part of making this decision. Okay. All right, so let's get a postcard from Spirit, and then I'm going to get a few initials, and we'll close right here. So I'm running out of room to shuffle here. I forgot that I did that to myself before, where I bring my camera down too far and then I can't shuffle on the table. Not messing the cards up. Okay. What do you want to leave pile 1 with this reading about what's changing soon? Whoop, whoop, whoop. Okay. Y'all have be fearless. Okay, here we go. Dearest you, sometimes it's wonderful to give, but there are times that you might find yourself overgiving. Now might be a good time to check in and see where you might be cutting off the flow of abundance. Let others give to you, even if you're more comfortable being generous and being the giver, the healer, the rescuer. In the art of living, we sometimes overlook an important skill, receiving gracefully and with gratitude. I talked about this in the beginning of your reading, of getting to that place to where you are grateful, you know, for where you are, but you're also having a desire for, you know, something newer in the future. Without receiving gracefully and with gratitude without diminishing yourself or trying to deny vulnerability or bringing an agenda of equality to it. Receiving is hard for some people, maybe you. You do not need a this for that in your exchange with others. You are doing good in the world. Let the world give back to you and support you. Then you can give up the old stories that have you convinced that you have to do everything alone with no help. Let your well be filled. We love you so, so much. So when I talked about here about Spirit giving you that nudge in some way, shape, or form, I feel like that's something that's going to come up, it's going to occur. Also, that's going to help you, but you have to be able to be open for that help. Open up your heart. You have to be open for that help or that guidance to come in. So there's a little message there. You know, yeah, Spirit may help you and kind of shift the wind there for you somewhat, but you have to be open to those changes when they occur. And I think you are going to meet a challenge here with that, whether or not you're open, you know, to those challenges or challenges, whether or not you're open to those new energies is part of the reason that you're going to be kind of getting this pushback here. Okay, and then also it talks about, then you can give up the old stories that have you convinced that you have to do everything alone with no help. I do feel like for some of you, this does have to do with something of you overgiving, especially with the crown, not recognizing your own value or worth and overgiving of yourself in order to get that acknowledgement. That may be part of a huge lesson that you've learned, you know? Okay. These squirrels, guys, in my backyard have my dogs just beside themselves. I mean, they're just messing with them. Okay. Let your dreams be your wings. You have the soccer ball here. So you may be having, like, you may have been playing games here. Someone may have been playing games with you, or you may have been tossing around, going back and forth here with someone or a situation. And maybe even just an idea. Yeah, you have the photograph here. So again, leaving the past in the past, leaving the past behind. Okay, so you have IOKAJ, ZLP, another K, D, M or W, H, and Q, headquarters, HQ. DM is here too. IO. I really feel like for some of you, this is pretty significant of someone that's going to try to keep you from, like, moving forward, progressing in some way. So really just, like, I would definitely, like, cleanse your energy. Just be really aware of that. Okay? Okay. All right, guys. This is somebody that could maybe even, like, they could be projecting their story onto you in some way, which is giving you bad advice or a negative energy. Or this could be someone that is kind of saying whatever they have to say in order to keep you in a certain cycle. So it's just be aware of that. Okay. So thank you so much, guys, for being here. Thanks for all your love and support. I hope this helps. Good luck to you guys, and I hope to see you soon. Bye. Hey, Paul, too. So if you chose the hummingbird, which is kind of crazy because I put my hummingbird ring on today, which always reminds me of my grandma. She had she loved hummingbirds, but she's got them all over the place. Her mother collected them, so she got left with a lot. So reminds me of her too. Hummingbirds represent ancient wisdom as well. It's also a very spiritual, to me, it's a very spiritual animal spirit. They're also very fast, quick. Hummingbirds are very quick. And, you know, they drink like that sugar, which helps with their efforts, their quickness. Also, the wings being all different colors here. This could be like being kind of quick on your feet, seeing things in a lot of different ways is helping you to acknowledge or learn something. Your diversity, or being able to understand or see things in a lot of different ways, is helping you to move quicker. To like I don't know, there's something to do with understanding things, helping you to advance or move quicker. I'm not sure what that means. Also, family could be real important here. Learning something about family, a family dynamic or ancestral line. Learning something about family could help, or it's going to significantly change things for you moving forward. Interesting. Okay. I don't look at these, by the way, before I pull them. It's always, I like to be able to kind of zone in when I first see the card. Three of Pentacles energy here. It says the Wizard of Awareness, which is ties into like the thing here. And look at the bottom. His what would you call that? Cape. Is it tech? Oh, it doesn't matter, you know, it really doesn't. But the bottom of it's the same colors as your hummingbird. Look at that. It's kind of neat. Anyway, the way he's sitting there thinking with this wizardy energy is also kind of giving me hermity vibes. So Virgos, like that, analyzing things. You have the wheel here behind him. His staff of knowledge looks kind of like Gandalf a little bit, right? I always thought that was strange. You know, he only like ever really uses his power when it's like an absolute must. And like he just carries his staff around on this horse like most of the time, and it's it's like, but he's yet supposed to be, you know, the great. So it's yeah. I think some of y'all don't even understand the amount of knowledge that you're walking around with. Like the knowledge that you're holding on to, whatever it is, knowledge you've gained, experience, whatever the case, whatever you're holding on to, it's really going to be shifting and changing your energy soon. But right now at this time, I think you're still looking at it. It's like you're still thinking about it. You're still analyzing it. You're still curious. You're still in a place to where you're trying to decide about mentally what it is that you're committing to. And for some of you, this could have to do with family. You know, this could have to do with something like that, or this could have to do with like learning things about your family, or who you are, or what's going on, or how things are, or how things are going to be. Something significant there. But if this has to do with work, obviously with this Three of Pentacles, or a commitment, it's like you're in really deep thought about if mentally you are capable or ready or prepared, or like you're sitting on all this knowledge, but you haven't really played it out yet. And I think that's when the change is going to occur. Biggest question of all here to me would be, what is it that you're wanting to commit to? And that's what is mentally under your understanding of something. That's really what's here, I feel. This is like what your primary focus is there will be a change in this. This will change things for you moving forward. The way you're thinking here, or what you're doing or committing to is going to change things for you moving forward. But you're still in this place to where you're like, you know, do I understand things correctly here? I do feel like for some of you too, you're going over and over and over something in your mind. Okay. This is the answer oracles that I'm going to use for y'all. Just to get an overall look at what this is. That's changing for you soon. What is changing for Pal too soon? The hummingbird. Generous. Okay. Give with an open heart. Offer without expectation and unconditional love. We have loneliness. Emptiness, depression, wondering, gap period. We have chat. Exchange of information, disclose information, and inquire. And we have care. That's crazy. I should have said it. I don't know why I always do that to myself. I should have said something. But I mean, it kind of is obvious, right? Because you have generous and loneliness next to each other with the chat. But then you also have this care here. So I was thinking generous and loneliness. Being generous with someone that perhaps maybe you feel like is lonely, or someone being generous with you in this feeling of like this emptiness that's here, or maybe not being in the best place. I don't feel like this is you. I feel like this is someone else. And then I was thinking caring about someone, give with an open heart, offer without expectation, unconditional love, and you have care. So for some of you, this could be like having a chat here around someone's care, around someone's support, someone that you're looking at as being kind of in a place of where there's this emptiness or loneliness, or, you know, maybe someone that doesn't have a lot of people, or they're just kind of wondering, or they're in this like gap period here in some way. It's having this, disclosing this information or exchanging information around someone feeling this way, and showing that person care or love, giving it with an open heart, but making that commitment or that decision is something that you're still in the process of. What are you wanting to commit to here? Or what would make something work out in the best way? You know, can be like the Three of Pentacles as well. Something, you know, the gears moving, something working out in the best way. This can also look like a career type thing as well. So something that could be changing in your life. You're looking at a situation and you're saying, do I really want to give to this situation more? Can I mentally take on more here? Am I ready for this? You know, but then having to kind of sit down and evaluate or inquire about something, or disclose this information here that maybe you don't feel that great about where you are, and kind of offer that up, that conversation or exchange, without any kind of expectation with that. You know, you're thinking about, what am I going to learn from this situation? Can I help? Can I assist someone here? For some of you, this could be someone that you work with that you're seeing them in a particular way, and you're wanting to kind of teach that person something, help that person, assist that person in some way, but you don't know if that's the best decision or right decision for you, because then you are kind of taking on someone else's, like guiding someone else, you know, in some sense. There's also this feeling of just with the company that's being on this card. It's just like helping someone, guiding someone. That's the overall energy with love and support. You have, it's strange, what would you call this? It's ironic, I guess, in a way. You have the teddy bear in the forest, but the real bear is sitting over here. Where is he? Actually, it looks like a food truck. Oh no, it's a bus stop. Yeah, it's a bus stop. So he's not where he's supposed to be. You know, he needs to be in the forest. The teddy bear could be over here. There's just, it's like not feeling like it's your place, or not knowing if it's your place, or if you're wanting to take on that role in some kind of way, is something that's here. You're needing more information, needing to exchange information, needing to have a conversation. Okay, what's the bottom of the deck? Empty. Clean, purify, empty, and practice. Okay, I gotta get a drink of coffee because this is really making me want it. So the synchronicities in y'all's readings. There's also synchronicities in all the readings combined. It's because I'm reading every pile. I get to see it. And one of them here is, in pile 1, they had a card right here in the same position that also had leaves on it. And it reminded me of fall. And this here also reminds me of fall. And to be honest with you guys, I literally just bought my pumpkin creamer for my coffee. And I was so excited about it because you know fall's coming. So that really reminds me of my drink here. It makes me think about that. So that could be about when the shift comes in. It's kind of what I said in the other pile, which would be a couple months from now where I'm at. So maybe a couple months for you guys when things are really going to start to shift here in this situation, whatever it is that you're thinking or contemplating on. This bottom of the deck with empty, it's like you're wanting to purify or cleanse yourself from this thought. So needing to make a final decision here and needing to approach this with care and conversation. And it's almost like you're wanting to cleanse or purify something. Some of y'all, this can be that help or guidance, but you, again, don't know if it's like your place or if you're ready, if you can take that on or if you should. And for others of you, this is like, you feel like you have a certain amount of knowledge here that you could express or disclose that could be helpful or supportive, but you don't know if you should do that or not. I already saw this once, giving up on a previous plan. Some of y'all, you may have already had this thought or something like that, and it's just like you've changed your mind or something changed your mind or you just kind of put it off, and now you're being approached with it here again. And this time it's going to be more of a final decision. I do feel like that you do have an energy of feeling kind of a little bit stuck at this time, but we're talking about the change that's coming soon. So this would help us to show, like, you know, as you make that commitment, what are the changes that could occur or come in with that? You always have free will, you know, in any decision that you make at the end of the day, and it's always going to be up to y'all. So let's just see how this comes out. This is the Ethereal Visions Tarot, by the way. I've seen the Hanged Man in reverse here twice. Pisces energy. So there is this like feeling of you're being afraid of making the wrong decision here in some way, or not doing enough, or not seeing something properly. I do feel like still there's some kind of knowledge or something that you've come into that's really shifted your whole perspective here in some way. That could be that Hangman energy. Now you're looking at things differently. Now what? Now what do I do? Okay. What's going to be changing soon? The Three of Wands in reverse. To me, that again is to that stuck energy that I was already picking up on. Again, still I feel that stuck energy there. I'm actually going to do this. This is also like having to go back to, like, the plan did not work out and having to go back to it, which we did talk about. This can also be like also offering something without any kind of expectation there either. Justice. There's something here you feel like is not right, not fair, not okay. it has to do either with the way you're seeing someone else, like I said about the bear, like what is he doing there? He's talking. He's not going to be able to get on that bus, so I don't know what he's waiting for. Um, but it's like if you drove by and saw that, would you not think like, what the hell is that bear doing over there on that waiting for a bus? Was that a bear? It's just not. It doesn't fit. There's something here that you like feel like is not okay, just right, fair, and you maybe have an opportunity to make it that way or to help influence it in the right direction. That Libra energy chat. Hermit in reverse. So there's that Hermit energy, that thinking. So you will like come out of this way of thinking here, and it's attached to this Justice, because I feel like whatever this is, like you have to, this is like knowing something's wrong and needing to say something about it, and it's just going to sit on you and sit on you and sit on you and sit on you until you actually, okay, I've thought about this long enough and I know exactly what I need to say, or I need to stand up for this, or whatever the case. And you have this Hermit here, this Virgo energy next to the Libra there, where you're coming out of this introspection and now it's time to disclose this information. Now it's time to have this talk. Now it's time to exchange information or inquire about, whatever this is. You're ready to face it. You're ready to take on the challenge there. So care, strength. So you're using your strengths to provide this support, care, or assistance here. But you're having to also like pull on your inner strength. This is, I feel like, going to take a lot. Like I said before, mentally you didn't know if you were prepared or you could take this on. This could be like time management thing. This could have to do with like emotionally, you don't know if you could take this on, or how difficult this is going to be for you. Maybe you feel like you're too close to this situation for you to be that help, that care, that assistance in some kind of way. There may be some kind of, for some of you, some boundaries there that you feel like you may have to step over or cross in order to do the right thing or make things right or fair in some way. Leo energy. But this is definitely, like, this is a call here to, and it's interesting too, because the Empress is what's in the Strength card, and she really gets to where she tames the lion. She's very patient, she's very supportive, and she's very loving and nurturing, and this is what gets her to that place of strength. This is where she's strong at. And so these are your strengths here, and I think that you're being called to use those strengths here in this situation. Give me one more. The Lovers in reverse. I just heard it may not be a popular choice, or you may not be loved throughout the situation, I don't know what that means to y'all. Like something to do with maybe you're putting yourself in a position to where other people aren't going to agree with it being in alignment with you, or that, this may be someone that you care for, but it's hard to love, the Lovers in reverse. This is maybe why it's been so difficult too for you to make a decision here, Gemini energy. Looking at both sides to this choice that you're making, but maybe perhaps you've been looking at the more negative side to it. Sometimes we give and we don't get, and that has to do with that offering without expectations. I think this is really something where you're saying, okay, this is a situation that I'm not going to get anything in return here with this, and I'm going to have to be strong here in this situation in some kind of way. But I do feel like this is eventually, this is the way that this would unfold is going to be better than the way that it is if I don't stand up, or if I don't try to make this fair, if I don't do anything here. Like in the end, it's going to be better. this feels like something to me. I had a friend that she had a dad that had Alzheimer's at a very young age too. And she said, it's so hard for me to go over there because he'll start, talking to me. He doesn't know who I am. And I've experienced that when I was really young, so I don't remember in an older age what that would be like, especially a parent. But I do know what it's like to lose loved ones suddenly and, to wake up the next day and they're just gone. And I told her, I know that's hard, but I can tell you, like, if you just go sit and have a conversation with whatever he's talking about, and at least you're having that time with him. And I said, that is something that you definitely will not regret. And she told me that was later on after he passed away. She's like, that was the best advice, because she did start to do that. It affected her in a way where she looks back now and she doesn't regret it. She cherishes those times. And it's kind of like this here in some way or another. This is just the way that it feels to me, this kind of a situation. Even if this has to do with work, it's like, even if it doesn't work out, if you disclose this information, if you're providing that assistance or that, like, hey, I feel like I need to be somewhere else. I'm not learning anything here, or whatever the case. At least you're disclosing that and you're having that conversation, or you're inquiring about something. Maybe you're the one that's needing the help or the assistance, and you're having to be strong to ask for it. Whatever the case, I feel like you won't know until you try. That kind of a feeling is here. And I don't think that you'll regret it even if you do try. Okay. Because it will, at least, even if it doesn't play out for you, it will at least help you to purify or cleanse or empty this constant thinking, Why is the 3 of Wands in the reverse? In the Tower. You just had some sort of aha moment. Scorpio energy. Something happened here that completely, like, redirected you in some way. The 10 of Pentacles. This could have to do with family. 10 of Cups, not 10 of Pentacles, but it may have to do with family. This could even be like what you thought you wanted, you don't want anymore. You've changed your perspective of something. Something that maybe was once fulfilling is not anymore, that kind of thing. But you've had this, like, aha moment or sudden awareness with that 3 of Wands in reverse of something not what you expected, The Hierophant, there's a significant lesson around this. And I think that you're well aware of it. Like, cause and effect here, big time. For some of you. So it's like, like, because of this is the way something could happen. Like, it's kind of like my story, what I said. But, you don't know until you try. That kind of a feeling is there. This is it for me. Libra and Taurus, that Hierophant there is with Justice, is basically like learning a lesson when it comes to what's right and what's not right. What's fair and what's not fair. And giving with a generous heart, The Moon, Pisces energy, Cancer there too. This is coming out of the unknown or that introspection. It's like you've been in this place of the unknown. You've been in this place of, like, not knowing what to do, what's best. Maybe even a little bit of being afraid here. And coming out of that and actually having this conversation about, all these different circumstances. This could be like having a conversation about what you're afraid of or what you fear, or like facing the reality and putting something out in the air, disclosing some kind of information, inquiring about something. My strength here. This could even be like opening up and talking to someone. Yeah, for some of you, you may have had a hard time. You may have had all this awareness, but you've had a hard time making a certain decision. And opening up and talking to someone about that could be something that's very, very beneficial here as well. Like getting some outside resources or advice. Kind of more about what to expect, if that makes sense. My strength here. You have the Artist, which is special card in this deck. He's building, he's sculpting the castle in the sky here. It's the way I'm seeing this with Strength and that Care card. This to me is like it is what you want it to be, or it is what you make out of it. Like it is still in the process of also being created. So again, stepping into this internal strength and using your strength here, because this is still something that's in the process of being created when it comes to that assistance or support or teaching someone something or accompanying someone here, just care in general. I guess this could even actually be caring for yourself. Like you're still in the process of understanding what you're okay with and what you're not, what's right for you and what's not. It's with that comes this change outside of you. And I think I think that that's needing to be recognized, that you've actually taken the time and the energy to sit with this understanding that you have and this awareness that you have about yourself and what you're capable of, and what you feel like is you're standing up for, what you feel like is right for you. I think that that's a big step up here for you. This is like a big challenge that you're the challenge that you're meeting. Okay. Yeah, look at that, 4 of Wands. So you've made peace here with the fact of something, maybe it doesn't work out. Maybe you have to deal with someone's moodiness, with the Lovers in reverse, maybe not everybody agrees, or maybe you have to do something that necessarily you don't want to have to do, but in the long term, it's something that you won't regret. However it is, you've made peace with this. For some of you, I'm only seeing this now, you may have lost something significant here in your life. Or you've just become woken up to something significant that you just didn't see before. You saw it more of like a fantasy of it, potential of it, or the outside of what you can see, but it wasn't. Did y'all hear that? Anyway, I'm not sure what that was. My cat Bobo's sitting outside though, just staring at me like, did you hear that? I don't know, did you? Anyway, there's something here significant that has just woken you up to something not being maybe realistic, or because even though everybody, in tarot, we see the 10 of Cups and we're like, oh, well, emotional fulfillment, that's everything your heart can ever want. But it doesn't last that long. I mean, look at this couple right here with this baby. I mean, isn't that sweet? So sweet. But wait till that baby starts just crying and, keeping them up at night And, you know, that's hard. I have 3 kids, you know, and I was always the one that was up most of the time. But it's hard. It's difficult. You go through like not so great times. So it's not a realistic energy. It doesn't last. You can't stay in the 10 of cups forever, you know. And okay, that's my son. That's my son. I don't know what he's doing in there, but anyway. But this is something that you, whatever it was that you've had some kind of illusion about. I think that you've woken up to that and it not being what you thought it was, if that makes sense. And having to kind of redirect that has been a bit of an obstacle for you. But it has taught you to not lean into expectations, you know, or not lean into certain things. Like understanding that, oh, okay, sometimes things aren't what I thought they were. Sometimes things aren't exactly what. It's almost like this generous energy. It's just because you're in like such a generous place and you're very open and giving to others doesn't mean that everybody that's you're giving to deserves it, is receiving it well, is going to give it back in return. You know, there are individuals that just are not like that. They don't have that exchange. And understanding that is something that you may be like waking up to here. Okay. At bottom of the deck is is the Hangman in reverse. Dang thing's haunting me. And then you have swords here at the bottom. What is that? 10 of Swords and the Page of Cups. Yeah. For some of you, there's some sort of message around either, I think this is past energy, so keep that in mind, but there's some sort of energy here of, how do I explain that? How do I explain this? 10 of Cups. Come on. Page of Cups with the 10 of Swords. If that to me is like an apologetic ending. Like, I'm really sorry, but I have to close this cycle out. Or this is like somebody could be saying to you this. But I feel like that this is past energy, so I don't want us to just fixate on it a lot. The whole point of this is purifying yourself from whatever that is and having to face a different reality and moving towards what it is that you feel like is right for you and making peace with what you feel like doesn't quite align with you, or having to make peace with something not being exactly like you imagined or wanted. So, okay. We're going to get some cards, which I did what with here, that will help us to see kind of what more you can expect moving forward. So I hope this all made sense because there was like a handful of different types of scenarios that this could be. The bottom line is you've had some kind of awareness that you've shifted your energy already, and it's caused you to want to stand up for what you feel like is right. And either you're helping someone's helping you, but you're having a conversation, disclosing information back and forth, where you're finally like, even though you're having to pull on your inner strength, you're in the process of building something that will bring you peace. Okay. What's going to happen in the future? Gambling. Problems with addiction or gambling, bad finances. What's going to happen in the future? You have an earth sign here. Taurus, Virgo, and Capricorn. And health. Health issues could arise. And then you have nothing. Okay. So don't let that scare you. I do feel like that when you see health issues arise, it can be like something that you already, like, I feel like made peace with. Is just kind of going the way that you already imagined or thought that it would in some way for some of you. For others of you, this can be like some kind of unexpected something that comes into play. which makes me go back here to gambling. Some of y'all, I don't know if this is your energy or someone else's, okay? This is going to be kind of a little bit hard to explain. Only take it if it resonates. I do feel like for some of y'all, there may be something here as far as someone or a situation where you maybe kind of someone gambled you, or you gambled a situation, or you just kind of put something out there in some kind of way. And I do feel like that you're making peace again with it. I also feel like that there's something here that's coming into play or grounding because of that. So this is that cause and effect kind of I was talking about earlier. Because you gambled certain kind of things, now you have this issue that arises that you're going to have to deal with. This could be someone else's situation, because they gambled this, you're taking control here in this and having to deal with it, or especially if this has to do with something with work. This could be you stepping in and bringing this more grounded energy to a situation that may have been somewhat out of control. Yeah, I think that's what I want to say here, no matter what this is in the bottom line, because there's so many different scenarios here, that whatever this is, it's like you're having to find a groundedness with it, balance with it, taking control of it. No, I'm going to be honest. I'm an honest reader. I'm not going to sit here and go, oh my gosh, y'all, the future. It just looks so good. There is something here that you're going to be faced with. There's a challenge here that you're going to be faced with. But I think that y'all are already aware of this. Because you're taking on something else. You're offering something without that expectation. So, but you're doing what you feel like is right and fair. So that's the bottom line here. And I want to leave you with the fact that I do feel like that you're gaining control or getting control of a situation, or feeling more in control of a situation than you did before. And I think that's the most important thing moving forward. Will there still be challenges? Of course there will. I mean, this guy here is building a house. So yeah, you meet challenges when you build a house. Sometimes what you thought was going to work doesn't, and you have to do something else, or start over. Okay, what advice do you have overall for pile 2? Trial and error is something that I see here. Be fearless. Is this the same card? Nope, this is different. Pile 1 said be fearless too. Dearest you, on Earth humans learn about life by telling stories and creating new ones based on shared experiences. Eventually, after repeating one often enough, it becomes your main story that you use to define yourself and the world. So to get the answers that you seek, you must get vulnerable and hear the story when you tell it. Ask, why do I tell it? Is it really true? What else can be true? Can you see the truth that spirit is in all things? Do you see how other stories overlap and intertwine? Spirit loves stories, for they are like blueprints for co-creation. So tell the one that you know to be true about you. A story about courage, gratitude, and honesty. Tell an empowered story about well-being, wisdom, and grace. You will experience your world according to the story that you tell about it, so make sure they're stories you're proud of. Genuinely Loving Fan Club. Really, really significant here. And I was reading that last part about, the story that you're creating, because we talked about this, the blueprints here, still something that you're creating. So when you're taking up for yourself, you're standing in a position where you're doing something that you feel like is right, or you're doing something it's because it's fair, even if it's some kind of setback or something to do with that, it's like you're really sticking to your morals and your values. That's in turn always going to bring a better story to tell, right, than if you didn't. And I think that that's really important here, because I think that's what you're facing. Genuinely Loving Fan Club is on here too. I don't know if I said that. Okay, so let's get some initials and charms to close. Okay. How to... You've got some good ones. First off, you have the little pill jar here. So really paying attention to your health, understanding and looking at your health, and doing, you know, your routine things here is something that's here. Even if you're in a situation like I talked about before, always keep checking in with yourself like you have been. Making sure that you're good mentally, you feel good emotionally, you're comfortable, you're strong, you're in the right mindset here. Constantly checking in with yourself is important here. Don't completely overgive your energy. You can be generous and not go overgive, okay? So yeah, don't deplete yourself is something I want to say. Okay. You also have, you become what you believe. So, yeah. You have the rain cloud. So this is something that will pass, you know, this feeling of loneliness or sadness is something that will pass. It doesn't stay there forever. You have the astronaut. So doing something really outside of your comfort zone could be something that's here. Having to do something really outside of your comfort zone. Yeah. That wasn't very cash money of you. So there's this like thought of, again, doing something you feel like is right in the situation. It's like admitting that if you didn't, then that's the way you may fail down the line, you know. Okay, we have H, P, T, another H, an L, another L. You have an E here too, and a K. So you do have hell in the bowl. And I just turned in my head, oh, hell. And you have tell. So there may be something here that you're having to tell someone that feels like it's going to be hell. Or like I already said that before, something that you may have to deal with here that you feel like is going to be difficult. Pet is here too. And tell I already said. Okay. All right. I'm going to leave y'all here. So thank you so much for being here. I hope this helps. Good luck to you guys with this. And I hope to see you soon. Bye. Hey, pile 3. So if you chose my favorite, you have this owl here. So there's a bigger owl up the top, and then there's a smaller owl down here at the bottom. So owls, of course, represent wisdom. Also always think of like an owl being able to see things that others can't. And while they're stationary, while they're in a certain spot, they can see things all around them, and they can see kind of what's real and what's not. Something to do with that. Maybe you, I don't know, I feel like for a lot of you, you're sitting in a better position than either someone else or others. I also feel the 2 of Pentacles energy from this for some reason, which is basically like, I don't know, I feel like for a lot of y'all, you're just, you're sitting in a more comfortable place at this time, or at least you feel like you know more than maybe someone else, or something to do with that. Okay. Y'all's is going to be interesting. I can already tell. I can already tell, like, I don't know. It just feels a little bit different from the other piles. Okay, so what is y'all's card here? Let's see. Details. So yeah, you've really kind of been, this is the number 43. You've really been looking. It says clarity over here, important notes. Also, this is a mouse with a, I would say a birthday hat, but it doesn't look like, to me, it looks like a wizard hat. So using all your skills and all your knowledge to understand the direction of things, like details. You pay attention to the details here. So you have a better understanding or knowledge in a particular situation to where you kind of rise above, everyone else, or you feel this way. You've paid attention to the finer things, the details of things. And I think that this is something that may work out for you. And yeah, this is, I'm getting an image of like being in a room with a bunch of people, and, the boss comes in and starts talking about something that everyone needs to be doing, but you're the one person that's already actually been doing that. So you've kind of like been just really on the spot when it comes to things, going kind of above and beyond. And I think that you may be finally getting some recognition from this. For some of you may have actually found a particular detail in something that maybe slipped everyone else's view, and you found it. You've discovered something, which again in turn is like making you feel like you're above others in some kind of way. And I don't mean that like you're above everybody else. I would never say that. I'm all about being equal. We can all end up in the same positions as anybody else in the world. I'm talking about not the understanding that you have with that, but more so like something that you've been really achieving and working on, looking at the details, paying attention, all this kind of stuff. Where basically everybody else has had the same opportunities that you've had. You've done more with the opportunities that you've had. You've researched more, you've analyzed more, everything's just more. Some of y'all, you're really looking at the details to a particular situation when it comes to which direction that you should take or want to take. And you feel like that you have clarity on which direction that is. This might have to do with your foundation, and then like committing to that, feeling like you're on the right path. Okay. There's also something here moving forward that you really need to like pay attention to the details with. So like this could be like something you're signing, some kind of document. Make sure that you're really looking over all that. There's a message, like a warning message that's coming in here as well. Okay, so we'll see what that's about. But we're going to start with the answer oracles. The answer oracles. Yeah, I don't like to ever feel like you're ever better than anyone else in this world, because I think that's where a lot of us kind of really mess up, It's funny too, often enough, I feel like that a lot of people that have been in the position to where they're thinking that they're better than everyone end up where everyone else was at some point, I just had this conversation with my son the other day. He's super smart, so smart. I asked him, like, he doesn't have like a tremendous amount of friends, and because he's more focused on what he's doing, this is a pure example of it. I asked him, I said, so did you like your lunch today? And he's like, yeah, it was really good. He's 12. And I was like, well, who do you sit with in the lunchroom? And he's like, nobody. I was like, you don't sit next to anybody? I live in a small town, by the way. It's a very small school. And he knows he has friends that go there. And I'm like, you don't sit next to your friends? And he's like, no, they always have so many people sitting around them. He's like, I was like, well, who do you sit by? Do you know who you sit by? And he's like, no. And I was like, do you talk to him? And he's like, not really. He's like, Mom, I don't have time for that. I'm there to eat lunch. I'm like, okay, well, there you go. If that's the way you feel. So yeah, and I told him one day, I said, those other kids like make fun of you for all that, but the hard work and effort that you put into being at school is going to pay off for you one day, and you're going to look back and go, wow, that was just not very much time of my life, but man, I managed it well, and he's going to end up being something big one day, or being real well off someday, or stable in his life, because of that. Okay. This is the answer oracles, by the way. We have risk-taking. Yep. Attack, go ahead, and glory favors the brave. So the change is coming in. And then we have sunset, decline, fade, and aging. So I think that you're taking a risk here on something because you feel like that this is your chance. This is your opportunity. So you're putting on a brave face here, and I think that you're moving into a position to where some of you may have been feeling like you're starting to fade or like decline in some way, and so you're needing this fresh new energy to come in, to like bring the desire back. But for others of you, there's this, it's time to close out something. Having to take a risk because you feel like something is starting to decline, or you're having to close out something. It's time to close out something. Family, roots, bloodline, and togetherness. For some of you, this is shutting something off and focusing on what's really important here. Shutting something down and focusing on what's really important. For others of you, this could be like some way of doing things is not going the way that you wanted it to go, or you thought it would feel, and you're having to be brave and do something differently here. Pay attention to the details. With family here too, this could have to do with togetherness and what you'd be risking in this. There may be something about being a leader or having to lead the way. Some more. Because to me, with roots, it's like, what is your foundation built on? That's something that's here. And limit, boundary, speeding, and explosion. Did I say boundary? I did. Some of you have had to put up certain boundaries, maybe even with yourself. Limit yourself in some way. And focus on what's important here. Or this is what this is about. Some of you may be feeling attacked here in some way because of that. Let's see what the bottom of the deck is. Book, information, wisdom, that's the owl, experience, immortality, authenticity. Some of y'all, I really feel like this intensity when it comes to your morals and values. Shifting, paying attention to the details, making a plan, figuring something out, being a leader, stepping up to the plate. In order to get to what it is that you want, you're having to refocus. This feels like refocusing your energy on what's important to you. And it has to do with maybe this decline, age, or fade. Some of you could actually be worried about this, and you're taking certain risk here that could be affecting family in some way. and having to limit yourself here because of this, or having to limit yourself because of family. And there's decline on both sides of that, right? So you really have to kind of focus and figure out what's the important to you at this time, paying attention to the details. There's something here you've told yourself too, I feel like. An important note, maybe something that you found or saw that you've wrote or said or have done in the past in some way that you came across that makes you think about. You ever do that? Like, I mean, it's kind of like that thing where they say, write out when you're a teenager what you expected to, where you expect to be, you know, in the future, and you go back and you read that in the future and you're like, wow, boy, things have changed. You know, things are different, but it makes you think about that again. You know, that's that reamping kind of energy that I was feeling. Refocusing your energy and what's important and what's valuable and important to you at this time and why that is. And then also like prioritizing and limitations is something that's here. And this is the new energy. This is what's going to be changing, is all of this, okay? So if all of that makes sense. I knew that was coming. Uh-huh. Sure, just make sure the pantry's closed, okay? And there's no food on the counter or out. Okay?
What about the bananas out?
I don't think they're going to eat the bananas. You can just leave those out.
Oh, but is a banana healthy if they'll eat them?
Sure. I mean, I actually don't know that for sure, if a dog eats a banana, if that's healthy or not.
I thought you don't know everything.
You thought what? You're wrong. You're highly wrong. There's a lot of stuff I don't know. I love you too. Okay. Sorry about that. But family, you know what's important. You know, it's funny too, still, like I just said to him, you know, always take that into consideration in the reading. And what I just said to him makes sense too here. It's like, no matter how far we go in life, there will be things in our life that we look back and go, oh, you know, I didn't actually know that. How did I not know that? I've lived my whole 40 years and I hadn't a clue that was the case. There was something actually I learned the other day that I was like, what? That's not true. It was about buzzards. Did y'all know that buzzards do not circle where there's decay? I learned that. They just circle. It's a misconception. I learned that they circle wherever the drift is, because they're not really good. They're not that well of flowers. Yeah, that's right. Anyway, that might have something to do with this. Like, there's things here you always go through life thinking, and then all of a sudden it's just something like you get that detail, that information, and it shifts your way of thinking. And I think that that's what's happening for y'all, and that's the changes that are going to come in. And it has something to do with limiting yourself, what's important to you, and the significance of aging, or something coming to a close and having to take a risk. I just saw the 6 of Cups, so that child energy or family energy is there.
I found out what the dog was barking at. They were barking at our neighbor.
What's our neighbor doing?
He went right outside doing something. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you for telling me. So we are using the Guardian of the Night Tarot here. And for some reason, I pulled a lot of animal decks. I'm not sure why I did that, but here we are. Okay, so what is changing soon for pile 3? What is changing soon for pile 3 when it comes to this? World. Yeah, something's coming to a close here. This could even be like a move or significant. Something here, I feel like the world is also always represents an ending. It's the last of the major arcana, and Something here is definitely coming to a close. But this can also have to do with travel and distance. We have the Nine of Wands. To me, this would be this harder energy of the decline, right? The aging, the Nine of Wands. Something being very difficult to, something's just becoming very difficult. And it has to do with, maybe you feel like you don't have enough time or energy. But it's the Nine of Wands is like putting pressure on yourself too, you know? He's standing there. It's the wounded warrior. It's like you've been through so much. It's different from anything else. It's like, how much more do I want to take on? I've already been to this certain spot. I've already been bruised up, banged, and everything else. How much energy do I have left? You know, it just kind of fits right alongside that sunset energy with that decline. Okay, we'll see how that plays a factor here. You have a Queen of Pentacles. That would be that family energy. This could be a mother, a spouse, long-term partner. Could be a patriarch of the family. This could be someone that is that you look up to or gives good advice even. This could also be you feeling, you know, just grounded, like needing to kind of ground yourself here. What makes you feel comfortable or safe. And the King of Swords. I'm going to get one more. So you have Aquarius and Taurus energy here. Y'all's reading seems like I don't know, I just feel like I slowed down in y'all's reading for some reason. I don't know how to explain it. There's this energy of like, well, that's the Eight of Wands there in reverse, which is the card of slowing down. But it's like everything just comes to a certain kind of halt. It may have to do with some acknowledgement that you're having when it comes to limitations and limiting yourself in some way, kind of slowing down a bit. Like this really is like, hey, I'm getting a lot older. You know, maybe I just need to slow it down a little bit and focus on what's really important or valuable here to me. It's that kind of an energy, how much like risk you're willing to take at a certain point, you know. There's also a hair bit of defensiveness here. Good grief. That's not my dog, by the way. It's my neighbor's. One of them. Okay. Something here was noted. If something important was said or noted or something like that, that has stopped you dead in your tracks. Some kind of wisdom. Thinking about your experience. Why is the World here? Ace of Swords. So there is definitely this truth or understanding, clarity that you're seeing here when it comes to the world. Something closing out. Why is this Nine of Wands here? Yeah, Ace of Pentacles in the reverse. Yeah, this defensiveness comes into having to ground yourself in something. This feels like an energy of having to release or let go of something. Like a thought or idea that you had. Something that you felt like you felt secure in at some point. You know, you felt good about an opportunity or good about a situation or an idea. And it's now you're looking at it and it's becoming more difficult to see that as something that's meant for you or grounded or responsible or worth value. You know, it's not worth its same value because of a different idea that you're having about what's important. Why is the Queen of Pentacles here? The Magician. Yeah, this could be like starting to ground or stabilize your energy, like starting to be more in a place to where you're wanting to simplify things, or you're wanting to find that peace, or you're wanting to just, you know, plant some roots here. You're just wanting to, this is really what you desire. You wanting to feel safe and secure. Like this is a very calming, grounded energy. Why is the King of Swords here? The Empress. This is like putting limitations on how much you're investing into, how much you're growing, what's going on. This is like, really guys, this feels like you're like understanding what's important and you're focusing on that. And for some of you, that has to do with family. It has to do with your roots. It has to do with, yeah, maybe you veered off, or you've taken some risk, or you've, you know, you've done some things here where you kind of veered off of the tracks, and it's like it was intentional and it was purposeful and meaningful to you, and you don't regret any of it at all. But it's just like this idea of, okay, now it's time to settle down. Now it's time to find this grounded place. Now I'm ready to kind of plant my roots somewhere. You know, it's that kind of a feeling. And you're having to be logical about limiting yourself. So some of you, it's not that you're letting go of it altogether. It's just that you're limiting your experiences. You're limiting your, whatever this is, how much new things you start, how many seeds you plant. You know, you're limiting that in some way, because it's like you can't have both worlds. You have to understand, in order to maintain a certain stability, you have to limit yourself in one situation and the other. That makes sense. If you're going to juggle two different ideas of something, then you have to be able to prioritize those two things. And you may have gotten more of one than the other and gotten a little bit sidetracked or off balance. Okay. Why is this Eight of Wands here in the reverse? Some of you, this is like you were moving something too quickly, like you were going in a direction too much or too quickly. You have a Six of, speaking of going in a direction, you have a Six of Swords in the reverse. So this is like, yeah, everything coming to a halt and then kind of going back to the way things were, or going back to the way something, it's just like going back to everything coming to a halt and going back to something where you feel like it needs to be another look at. You need to take another look at it, you know, or you need to seriously slow down, you know, in some area, or you need to, like, at some point, like quit, like kind of delay, go, 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 go. You know, it's that kind of a feeling. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by my kids. I'm trying to figure out in my head by the noises what is going on in there. We have a Five of Cups at the bottom of the deck. So yeah, and the Three of Swords, I mean, ouch. The Tower, my God. And the Four of Wands in reverse with the Fool. This is the risk here. For some of you, okay, so if that's the risk, the Fool, that new beginning, the Four of Wands in reverse, there's something that's happened here that didn't work out for you the way that you wanted it to, and that's what's really pushed you into this place of taking this risk or taking this opportunity. And I think that's something that you haven't fully, like, looked at, you know, of why you were in this energy to begin with. It may not necessarily be who you actually are. Have you ever, like, just went after something new because it felt good and you followed it, but then, like, you realize, like, that's not really you? Like, that's not really what you want. It's not really who you are. Deep down to your core, you know, you're, like, let's just say felt really, you wanted to change, and you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna travel the world. I'm gonna go do this, and God love you for having the money to do it, especially right now. But but you take off and you go after whatever it is, and then you get to do all those things, and then you start to realize that you're, to your core, you really like stability. You really like having a home, and you miss that, and that's really who you are deep down. And then understanding, well, you can do the best of both things. You can still have that home, but you can still kind of go, and you just have to limit yourself more. That's something that's here. But you may have been pushed into that energy because of some bad experience, and you're like, I just need a change. And so you kind of like took off and did something, but then now you're like, it's just I'm getting kind of tired of this, or I'm starting to feel like I need to focus on other things, or what's important. I don't know. It's just you're shifting your perspective here. But you also know that when you slow down, that you'll have to acknowledge whatever has happened to push you into that energy to begin with. It's like finally being alone after you've been in relationship after relationship, and never really fully being alone before you get into another one, or what, like maybe you lost someone that was really important to you, and it wasn't what you had no idea it was coming, and you wanted to get out of that feeling, and so you took off into go, I don't know, like I said, go travel the world or something crazy, and it put you into a whole nother energy. So you didn't really ever like deal with the loss or the grief or anything. That's something here that's going to come up. And I think maybe for a lot of you, that, like when you slow down, that's obviously something that's going to come to the surface and need to be addressed. But this is really like whatever disappointment that you experienced at some point will, come up and will have to be kind of dealt with. But I mean, I feel like that's obviously just part of it. Once we kind of slow down and take a breather, we start to kind of go through the details and look at things, and yeah, definitely, most certainly those emotions can come up to the surface and need to be dealt with. So yeah, that's something that's here. Let's see where that's going to lead you towards. Actually, I want to look at something real quick. When you slow down, when you kind of put on these, focus on what's important to you here, what will occur? What's going to happen after that? After this change, what's going to take place here? The Knight of Pentacles, staying determined, refocusing, things moving ahead. You have Death in reverse. So there's some resistance that's here. You'll be fighting against yourself when it comes to these changes. And that Four of Wands in reverse. So it's not going to feel good. I mean, I'm just not that reader, guys, that's just going to sit here and tell you everything is just going to be so perfect. You do have things to look forward to because you have stability to look forward to. The sense of home and security is here, and it's something that your soul is longing to feel at this time. I think you're going to feel very grounded with this Knight of Pentacles, but there's also some resistance. So it's a gradual release into understanding where you're comfortable at, especially when you're just limiting yourself or trying to prioritize certain things, to where you're including not this, but this, and equally. And it takes some time to find that balance, So yeah, you're going to feel a little uncomfortable, and there's going to be a little bit of resistance here, but I do feel like you're going to just persevere through that. And ultimately what you want is just to find that peaceful balance. Okay. Let's see now what's going to happen moving forward from this with the Oracle cards. So what's going to happen moving forward from this for pile 3? Vacation. You will soon be traveling. Okay, so some of y'all, that world, we saw that earlier. This may be something that comes into play when you are traveling, like you get this aha or epiphany moment while you're traveling. Like I said before, like you start to realize, you know, I kind of miss home. Something may be put in front of your face, and it could be a memory, like I talked about before too, where you come across something that reminds you of home in a way, reminds you of what's important and like brings you back to that place. And this could be why you're traveling, perhaps. As I say that, there goes that motorcycle. We have sexuality. Someone is still figuring themselves out. So this could just simply mean, like, I mean, that could be the case for some of you, of course, but this could also just mean that you're in a place to where you're still trying to figure out what exactly you want. And again, that balance is coming into play, that masculine, feminine energy, where you have this nurturing, homey-like empress side to you, where you're wanting to care and nurture and all that, but then you have this other side to you that is wanting to, that has a drive, that has a passion, that has a desire, that wants to do things, you know, and you have to balance. This idea of balancing that out is here. And kind of still figuring that out. And intimacy is here, sexual chemistry and reminiscing. For some of you, that could be the case. So maybe you're reminiscing about what you once had, you know. You're reminiscing about your desires, I feel like, are shifting somewhat. It's not that you've completely lost desire in one area, but it's just that you have new wants, and you have new needs that are coming into play. Interesting. Okay. I think for a lot of you, you're reminiscing about the closeness. Like your desire is to have that closeness, that intimacy, you know. Okay. What card do you have for pile 3? This one was thrown in my face. Be fearless. No kidding. No kidding. Every pile's card has said be fearless on the front. All different, but crazy. Dearest you, are you taking yourself or your problems too seriously? Maybe fear of the future is weighing on you. We would like for you to take a little break from all of that and start having fun. When you stop fixating on what has been making you heavy-hearted, we get a chance to move some magic in your direction. We just need you to let go a little. Spirit needs some room and gets very inspired by your laughter when you have fun. So for some of you, I'm sorry, my son's arguing with my other son in the hallway about the dogs. He's done. He said his piece and he's done. Same kid that I talked about earlier. There he is. Okay, so what I'm feeling here in your reading is it's kind of like what it says about where if you're fixating on when you stop fixating on what has been making you feel heavy-hearted. So when you get to a place where you get through this energy here, where you're kind of resisting and you're not feeling as comfortable, but you're getting to that place, you know, you're getting more comfortable with this idea of something, that's when you'll find yourselves to start to really open up, and eventually you'll end up having what it is that you looked for, you longed for. It just may not be in the same form or fashion that you thought, you know, in the way that you thought it would be. When was the last time that you got really loose, silly, or goofy? So this can also be like a feeling that you're searching for. The feeling that you're searching for may be in a different area than you're looking. It's just you may have forgotten about it, or it's been a long time since you felt it, you know, or something like that. Anyway, maybe you need to go dancing or watch some really funny comedy to make you laugh. Or call the one friend that you know will remind you, sorry, that made me laugh thinking about something. Call the one friend that you know that will remind you how ridiculously and delightfully giddy you are, or can be. You will return refreshed and renewed and ready to once again see the world as less daunting and you will be ready to receive it in perfect timing, the bounty that Spirit has for you. Don't you just love how much we care about you? Okay. I was thinking about my friend and how every time we get together, we laugh all the time. Like, she's the one person to know, like, no matter, we cry too, but she's the one person I can, like, we just have fun. Okay. No matter what. Okay, so let's go through the initials first, and then we'll go through the charms here. So you have C, R, O, is that all of them? Yes. D, E, and J. And then we can almost spell rodeo, so it makes me want to say that. All right, guys. Oh, and then we have, I almost wanted to close. Live in the present. I'm not a morning person, so there may be somebody here that's just not a morning person. You are worth it. Feeling good like I should. We have the donut here, so that could mean something here to somebody, the donut with sprinkles. Always feel like that donut with sprinkles. That's funny because I just now remember that my son said that he wanted donuts this morning. And I'm pretty sure that the donuts are not selling right now anymore. So he forgot. Anyway, but that always like a special treat for my kids. So that might be something special that's here. That might mean something else to some of you. Smile to the world. Okay. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you right here. So I hope this helps. Good luck to you. And thank you so much for being here and all your love and support. And I hope to see you soon. Bye. Hey, Pile 4. So if you chose the T-Rex, this is going to be a reading. Okay, so for some of you, we're talking about the changes that are coming in soon. And I feel like for some of you, you may have had a lot of determination, a lot of emotion, a lot of energy here around something that you feel like is just outside of your grasp. Just a little bit out of your reach. And I feel like because something may be somewhat a little bit out of your reach, you may have even been finding yourself very frustrated about this. Like every time you get so close, it's like something comes along and then you lose it again, you know, something like that. Like you keep getting a little bit more every time, but you don't quite get it to where you want it or get what you want from it. And then it's out of your grasp in some way. And some of you could be afraid of this. Okay, let's see what your card is. Y'all have the Bone Collector. Well, you have a T-Rex there, so. You have a clock. There's a lot of things going on in this card. I'm going to hold this up. This is the number 1, though. So, being that you do have this new beginning that's here with this number 1, new energy. There's this shaman-like energy, this level of protection that's going on here in the desert. Bone Collector. Yeah, it's kind of like what I was feeling with T-Rex. It's like you've kind of picked the meat off the bones here, and there isn't anything really left. Or this could be something to do with you've kind of been holding back your pride here too in some way. Like this has been kind of hurting your pride, starting to hurt your pride or your ego here in some way. The time that this is taking, or that it's just it just keeps getting away from you in some way. Okay. It's like I heard collecting a lot of inventory. So you may feel like you're collecting a lot of inventory, but I mean, it's like you're not really getting off the ground. This would be like a business where you feel like you're getting a lot of business, but you're not accumulating income. It's like, what's going on here? Why does this keep happening to me? Yeah, there's some kind of a cycle pertaining to this. Time is really relevant. Like, should I slow down? Should I go more? Like, what's the what's the gauge here with this? Okay, so we're going to use the answer oracles to see what exactly this is that's changing. So what is changing soon here for pile 4? What is changing soon here for pile 4? What is changing soon here for pile 4? There's this big energy of, like, you keep, things keep, like, get to where they seem like they're going to work out and then they don't. It's just like this, something that's just quiet, just a little bit out of your reach here, and it's frustrating. So what's going to be shifting for pile 4? Timing. Yeah, timing is, that's a lot. I'm going to take all those. Timing is really important here. You have the rabbit and the clock. In the rabbit, to me, it's always, I always think of Alice in Wonderland, of course. So it's like this time, like running out of time. And in the clock, there's something like, I feel like going slow if you sit there and watch the clock. So it's like this difference between like moving too quickly, going too slow, and then you have this timing, deadline, synchronization, rhythm, and moment. Whoa. Process. It's a process. You're getting the pushback here on this. Journey, growth, path, and experiences. I heard it's all about the process. Okay, this is the second time I'm seeing evolution here. So transformation. This says new beginning. That's that number 1 that we saw before. So there is this like, in the middle of this taking a long time, you have been building a lot of growth and understanding here. You know, there's been a lot of changes that have been going on. It's almost like you can't see it, but there's a lot of things that you're learning in the process of getting to where you're going. That's really important, bone collector. So yet maybe things haven't worked out, but as you're going, you know, every attempt that you make, it's like you're getting more knowledge and more knowledge and more knowledge. It's like, you know, I think about it like this sometimes too. And when you're in a situation where you feel like life is moving very slow for you, or you keep trying and failing, but yet you have someone else that is like excelling and going and growing, but you're like you feel a lot more effort or detail, or you're learning and it's just not working out for you. And you're like, what is going on? Like, I'm doing everything I'm supposed to be doing here. What you can't see is that by you being able to take some time and not just jump to something too quickly, you being able to see something that you're capable of doing, but you're building yourself up to it, or you're making some mistakes and having to rebuild in some way. You're learning throughout every single time that you do that. So by the end of it, the knowledge that you hold is a lot more than the knowledge of someone that would just come to them like automatically. Like, I think that you are not acknowledging that the knowledge that you have is so valuable and so important, because when those mistakes or those things occur or something happens, you already have been through it, experienced it, and you know how to ease through it. You know how to work through it very quickly. Other people may not have that same knowledge. So despite the cycles and the frustration and repetitiveness, you really get a good amount of value in that you may have not been fully seeing, because you've just been wanting, like, you feel like something just keeps getting out of your reach. But you're learning as you go, and you're learning some really valuable things as you go. There's been a lot of changes that have occurred that you may not be fully like paying attention to or looking at, you know, when it comes to how far you've come. Yeah, show. Spotlight, express, create, radiant joy, and enthusiasm. I do feel like there's going to be a significant change in the growth here. You're going to see things start to finally unfold in your favor. Start to see the reward from the progress, from the effort. And you have dating here. For some of you, this has to do with connecting with others, networking. Some of you, this could be dating. It could be an experience that you've had and that you keep kind of your bone collector. There you go. But that could be something there. But you keep kind of, repeating the same kind of thing and within your connections and whatever that means to you. But what it's doing is it's spotlighting the things that you don't want, in the process. How you can work through when things do happen. And I think that you're just not fully acknowledging that as the value it's worth. It's hard to, when we just want something and we feel like it's our time, and it just doesn't work out and you're like, what? You have high hopes, high expectations about something and it doesn't even get to that. Okay. This is the Curious Cats Tarot that we're going to use. There's something to do about timing here. You never know when the universe is setting you up for the perfect time for something to happen. And your frustration is not wasted. You're learning and growing and doing all this stuff when that time, when that date, when that offer is there. You just can't see it, at this time. You just can't. You're capable of having it, but you can't actually see it. And that's when your frustration can build, right? Okay, so tell me more about what is changing for pile 4. What's changing for pile 4? So we have timing, deadline here. Queen of Wands in the reverse. Yeah. Again, not seeing the value in something is here, right? Being frustrated. There's that frustrating kind of energy there. That's Sagittarius for me. Progress. Yeah, 3 of Wands. You are making progress here. You're moving. You're growing. You're just not where you want to be or you would want to be at this time for the time you spent in something, You've just been kind of sitting there waiting for your ships to come in. But you have been making progress. You have the 2 of Swords. Okay. So one thing that you definitely don't see coming as far as this change goes is I think that you're going to be sitting at a crossroads here. It's either you conform to the way of how things are, or stick to that. That's the way you are, how things are. Or you change. And sometimes when you change, you lose some, right? Sometimes when you start doing something different, you'll lose some. But it depends on what you want really for yourself. It's a risk sometimes you have to take, if you're trying to create something new, something different. And either it plays off or it doesn't. And I think that you keep getting to this place where you just get so close and then you feel like it drifts away and you're like, what the heck? But what Spirit's doing is they're giving you a solid backbone here. They're helping you grow and have thick skin and understand like where your boundaries and what you're capable of and all that very good quality information that you're needing. You've just been feeling blocked from having this evolution, but that's not the case, and you're going to see that. Yeah, Death in reverse. That's, again, like repeating something. Some of you, this determination is up to you when it comes to this 2 of Swords. Things are actually simpler than what you think they are. It's just sometimes we have a hard time realizing that, but sometimes I feel like I'm having deja vu like crazy right now. But anyway, sometimes in situations I feel like that we're like constantly in a place to where we're expecting so much from ourselves or things to be a certain way that we kind of forget like the journey itself or the process, the experiences that we're having and how valuable and important those are. And this is up to you, you know, if something's not changing, then maybe there's something about you that you could change. And I know that's not a popular way of looking at things at all, but if you feel like that you're in a certain kind of pattern, every time you're faced with, okay, I feel like I'm repeating a pattern here, you know, you have to make the change. Otherwise, it's just going to continue to repeat itself. And I think that's where you're being met with challenge here when it comes to strengthening you. I think that you've repetitively been met with a plateau, and you're having to evolve, to change things up, and then you kind of move on to another plateau, and then you have to evolve and change things up. And every time you take a step up, you're building yourself up. And I think that's what we're seeing here. But this is all free will. You know, it's up to you about if you look at something and say, I want to change things up. I don't want to do things the same way anymore. And again, you may take some, you know, you may lose some here by doing so, or something by doing so. But you really have to make that decision on what that new beginning is like, and what it looks like for you, and what you want here. Especially what you want to showcase, you know, what you want to create. Am I going to learn from this, or I'm going to keep doing the same thing? You know, that kind of thing. The Eight of Cups here. Some of you, this has to do with having to walk away from something where emotionally you thought that was the right way to do things, or the right way of being, or maybe even something that you really, like, you get into a repetitive thing because you kind of really like, or let me get some clarifiers. What you're doing, you know, and you, I don't know, I feel like for y'all, this something that you're doing involves learning and growing and trial and error, and which I know I say that a lot, but that's significant here with that Two of Swords and connections. There's something here emotionally you're having to walk away from. It has to do with yourself. I think it has to do with what you are capable of doing, or who you're capable of being. Like, you may have gotten into a place where you're comfortable with things. And so you have a hard time like putting yourself out there. You have a hard time doing things differently. But yet you still want what that brings. So that's a challenge. You know, making that decision, stepping outside of your comfort zone, not just waiting for something to happen, but making it happen. But having to kind of let go of your comfort zone, I feel like, is something here that's emotionally maybe a little bit hard for you. Queen of Wands in the reverse. Ace of Wands in the reverse. To me, that's like that's that frustration I was talking about before. Like losing your motivation because something's not happening for you in the way that you wanted it to. You're almost kind of in the place to where you're just ready to give up on it altogether. You've just been in this energy of waiting and waiting for it to work out, to come along. Yeah, Knight of Pentacles. You've just been very devoted, and you've persevered, and you've stuck to it. Two of Swords. Three of Pentacles. This is making a decision to commit to the change and follow through with it. This is making a decision to work something out here and following through with that. Committing to the transformation, you know. The Sun in reverse. This can be like finally walking away from some sort of disappointment. This can also be like expressing your disappointment or your unhappiness when it comes to something repeating or coming to an end. Following what you feel like is right for you is something that's here. It's just like changing up things, and maybe some other people here is not necessarily liking these changes. But you're sticking to that transformation here. You're sticking to working something out or possibly making a decision to have this new beginning. And because of that, it's like you're not happy anymore with the same old thing. You know, you're not happy repeating the same cycle. You're not happy with this is the way that it has to be. You know, you're ready to walk away from that energy, and you're needing to detach emotionally from what that offered you at some point. And I feel like for some of you, you may have to let go of some things that you're kind of attached to. Yeah, Ten of Swords. You can't have a new beginning without letting go of something here. If you make that decision to work on something, there goes my voice, and express yourself, then you're needing to follow through with that. And my music just came on in the background. That was weird. I'm just going to go with it, which is kind of what your reading's saying. Learn from that lesson despite the disappointment that you had. You know, you learn from it and you move forward. You win some, you lose some. That's kind of what this feels like. Like, this could be working something out here. Maybe you've been networking and some people are on board with you, some people aren't. Sometimes this can look like not accepting a disappointment. Not seeing something as a disappointment, but yet seeing something as an opportunity to grow and change and evolve. I think that's really what we're looking at. But there is something emotionally that's difficult, but you're needing to let go of in order for the final ending to occur, so that you can go towards that new beginning, so that you can have that new phase. If there's something that you're needing to emotionally detach from, and it may have been something that was hurtful, painful, something that you felt like you wish it would have went better, you know. The Six of Wands in reverse. Something didn't, like I said before, not everybody's going to cheer you on here. And there could have been something here that really hurt your ego in some way, which is something I think I said before. Yeah, here with the peacock feather. But you're just having to let go of that emotionally. You know, you're having just to release it and move forward. This can be like, you know, someone said something that hurt your ego, and you're having to emotionally kind of detach from that so that you can close that cycle out and commit to something new and have a new beginning. This can be like when you're in a situation to where you're changing things up, doing something differently because you're just not happy with the way things are at this time, and you need that change to occur. You want to evolve and change from what you've grown. And making that decision and sticking to it may not bring all the cheers. You know, you may get some boos here. But having to walk away from the way that feeling of kind of being stabbed in the back, or kind of being like you feel like you let others down in some way, having to emotionally detach from that feeling so that you can move towards this new beginning in the direction that you feel like is right for you. Interesting reading. What can they expect moving forward? The Nine of Pentacles in reverse. Stepping outside of your comfort zone is real big with this. The Devil in reverse and the Seven of Wands in reverse. You will get to a place here, Capricorn, here with the Devil. You have Scorpio down there too, and Leo. You will get to a place here to where you can let your guard down. You know, you can finally like rest. You get to the point to where you say you don't care, but you're not so emotionally attached to what everyone else has to say, or you're not so emotionally attached to what has occurred that someone said or has done, or whatever it is. And you're releasing all those feelings that you were feeling that were holding you back before, or were making you feel very defensive before. This is like something no longer triggering you anymore, you know? Okay. Bottom of the deck is the Empress in reverse, yeah. So, like I said, with the T-Rex, the Ace of Cups in reverse, some of you, this might have to be around relationships, but in an equal give and take when it comes to relationships. Standing up for yourself is really big here if that's the case. And your ego and facing disappointment is something that's here. Even if it's with yourself. There is this understanding here with the T-Rex and the Empress in reverse that you've had something that you've like had everything that you needed. Okay? You have the seeds, you have the soil, you have the place, it's ready to grow, you have everything that you needed, but you just haven't planted those seeds in the ground yet. And you haven't made, how do I say that? You've just been looking at the supplies, but you haven't had the courage, you haven't had the strength or desire to plant those seeds because you've been wounded or hurt in some way. Your ego's been wounded or hurt in some way, or you've just been in this weird, funky place to where you just don't understand why something's not working out for you despite all the energy and effort you put into it. But that's what you're coming out of. That's the change that you're going to see. Making a decision despite that to continue to move forward. And letting your guard down more so in the future is something that you'll see. Stepping outside of your comfort zone. Releasing all those, unwanted feelings that you've been feeling. Let's see what's going to happen in the future. Okay. So I do see a new beginning here. I just feel like, yeah, I'm just overcoming some challenges here to get to it. Someone else, so there may have been someone else here that really has been affecting you or affected something here. This could be some sabotage energy that occurred at some point for you or them, or someone just getting in the middle or getting in the way for you to have this new beginning. Communicate. Compromise, forgive, and work it out. We see that there, making a decision to compromise, making a decision to continue to move forward despite whatever got in the way, or not letting something get in the way. Mercury retrograde. Oddly enough, we actually just came out of Mercury retrograde. I guess we're in the post-shadow of that now. It says electric issues, communication issues, review, and everything. So for some of you, this has to do with communication with Mercury retrograde and overcoming some difficulties when it comes to communication, but learning and growing from it, not letting something trigger you any longer, kind of settling into emotionally detaching from whatever ending pain or whatever was causing you this trigger here. and moving above and beyond it. You have spy at the bottom. Someone's got their eye on you. You are doing your research. So for some of you, there's someone that's here. This could have been this energy, what got in the way. Maybe something was found out, or you feel like there's someone that's here like watching you. But this to me is also like something that you're needing to take a deeper look at, that you learned, like because of spying, because of taking a deeper look at something, like you've learned through this, because that's something that we talked about a lot before. Okay. Okay, so let's get a postcard from Spirit to close this out. Let's see. Some of y'all, if this is a relationship, there's definitely some kind of miscommunication, or what felt like miscommunication when it comes to someone else. Someone found something out or something like that went on here. Okay, this may have happened during retrograde. Definitely a communication issue. Okay, this says, you are divine beauty, which is the Empress here. This really might have played a toll on your value and worth. And your pride and ego may have took a hit. Okay. Dearest you, we have a secret to share with you. If you act as if all is well, it will be. Act as if you are brave, and you will have the courage. Act as if you are loved, and you will be a magnet to love and experience love of spirit. Act as if your prayers have been answered, as if you're truly in sync with good fortune. How you think is how you will see the world, interact with it, and draw conclusions from it. If you want to be the person who has the life that you want, co-creating and loving what is yours, you need to start acting as if that were truth. Don't worry about the conditions in your life that seem cancerous or empty, chaotic or barren. These are temporary and don't even count. Defy them and act as if you're the luckiest person on the planet. You will be, for you already are. That's the real secret. You are infinite potential. Loving you so much, rainbows explode in the ether. This definitely took you definitely took a hit to your worth and value here in some capacity, and I think it's interesting that this card talks about to not worry about the conditions in your life that seem empty, because we talked about that here, like what you actually are missing out on. This is more focused on what you could be gaining and understanding that. And that should be where your drive and your desire really comes from, you know, what you could be gaining from the experience. Okay. Let's see. We have paradise and the chocolate donut together. What a mix. So being at peace with something, seeing the value in something is definitely here, but these may mean something to y'all that I don't see. You have the no, that's not the pumpkin. That is the hamburger, which always makes me feel like being, you can do anything with this. So this could be something that like, there's a lot of different ways to approach this. There's no like certain kind of way you have to do this or have to do something. Finding your own way to be fulfilled, you know. Be a nice human. Okay. We have F, J, N, B, E, N, E, W or M, V, I, R, and P. Rest in peace is something that's there. So we did see that death card. Closing something out, you know, letting it go. I keep hearing it in my head too. Oh, well, can't please everybody. You know, that's something that I keep hearing. Or it is what it is. Or I don't know. There's just this energy of like releasing the emotional, not so great emotional attachment that you had to something. And it has to do with something that caused pain or hurt or something like that. Okay, anyway, I'm not trying to backtrack here. So thanks so much, guys, for being here. Thanks for all y'all's love and support and kindness. Of course, I hope this helps. Good luck, and I hope to see you soon. Bye.